Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next edition of AmiSights. I'm Ami Kassar, your host, along with my co-host, Lynn Ozer, a.k.a. SBA Queen. And today, we're going to hear the transformative story of Anthony Trucks, former NFL pro, now evolving into the next stories of his life. Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Lynn always likes to ask her favorite question.
Okay, I'm going to go on.
Let's go, Lynn. See what you got.
Okay, Anthony, one of my very favorite questions. What gave you the entrepreneurial bug to start your own business?
Being broke. I think being poor and broke. I'm not going to lie. I was just talking about this. My wife and I, you'll find out sure more. I grew up in foster care. And my wife and I, we foster parents. And so we have a kid in the house and he's 11 years old and he just turned 11 recently. And we were talking in the car, like maybe just honestly yesterday, yesterday for a track meet. And so we're going to the track meet. We're talking to him. I'm like, hey, would you like to earn some money? Like we got these weeds and stuff. I'm like, just be cool to have that sense of, I don't know, control. And I started talking to him. I go, when I was your age, at this age, I was going door to door and I was going and mowing lawns. People would stiff me sometimes and I'd open the door, which pissed me off, but it's part of it. Washing cars. And I realized that for me, like the things that people want, I have the ability to go get. If I do work, earn money, I can go buy the candy, the shoes, the rollerblades. By 12 years old, I had a paper route. And from 12 to 14, I ran that thing every single day, didn't miss, like nonstop. And it built in me this two things. One was a sense of confidence in my abilities. And two was a sense of freedom of like, I can survive. I can do this. Like if I need to, I can make and earn money. That's never left me. It's just been there ever since. So when I got done with the NFL, and I came home, I was not in the realm of going like, let me go find another boss. I was like, let me be my boss. And I've never looked back.
So when you were in foster care, I assume you must have played ball in high school. And
I did.
then how did you get your road to the NFL? It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's the same old road to the NFL. Interestingly, I was actually adopted at 14. I was in the foster care system at 3. So 11 years in the system, adopted at 14. So when I first played football was because I was actually able to. Like when I was in foster care, my biological mom wouldn't let me play. She still had what's called parental rights. She was still in control. When I got the rights severed, I finally was adopted. I could then go and play sports. So actually, it was finally out of the foster care world. But I actually sucked at the game. The journey was not a fun one. I was very bad. I'm not even joking. Like that actually is the brand. My brand of dark work comes from that window of time of when I was 15 and I sucked at the game and I went and did dark work so I could be great later on. And sure enough, progressed through to college, NFL. The journey is, I don't know how much you want to know about it, but it's wrought with just hardships. I went to college and I found my biological father. So my very first collegiate start, I got to meet my dad, win the game. Matter of fact, there's a game ball back here that's actually from the game that my first start,
Wow.
national television won it. It was cool. So it was a great experience. And then had my son at 20 years old. I think right before I turned 21, like a month before I turned 21. He actually now is 21 and he graduates from the University of Houston with a degree in physics in I think 3 or 4 months, which is kind of cool.
I love it.
Must be so proud. That's great.
I'm very proud. He runs the 110 hurdles. Like he's doing his thing. He's a good human. That's what you want, a good human. And then from there, college ended. I got done with college and I got an opportunity to play in the NFL and win the NFL. And NFL is an interesting dance because there's a lot of interesting stories in there. But the way I'll explain it is like NFL stands for not for long. Like you get in, you get hurt, you get out. And so I tore my left shoulder, playing with the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Philadelphia Eagles. Season done.
I'm sorry. I'll take it back.
Yeah. Okay, go Bird. I see the logo. At this point in time, I don't even care. You go out there, you do your thing. It's the way the guy he injured me was pretty dirty, but what am I? Hold a grudge? Life happens. And so, yeah, now I kind of went through that whole world of not being anything and making it to the NFL. That was the journey there. There are, if you really want to poke, and I got some good stories there, but I don't know how much time I want to spend there.
No, we're curious.
You want to go into it? All right.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I think people like to hear this stuff.
You actually there's no guarantee you're there. Every single day they're telling you, hey, you have no job tomorrow. If you don't figure this out, we're going to get somebody else. And they do. Like they'll get people in and cut you, and that's how the game played. And so you get in, and I remember my rookie year, I was like, I want to quit, man. I was like, it sucked. I was in Tampa, Florida, actually Orlando, Florida for training camp. It was hell on earth. It's just humid. It was just hot. Nobody cares about you. And at one point in between, like we had like 4 weeks of training camp, 2 weeks in, I'm like, I'm done with this. So I tell my agent, hey, I'm quitting. And I hang up on him. I call my college coach. I go, hey, is my scholarship so that to finish up school? He goes, yeah. And I get off. And I call my wife at the time because we got married. And I go, I'm
Mhm.
done with this. She's like, what are you talking about? And I hung up on everybody. More so because I just didn't want to have anybody talk me out of it. So I head downstairs to go see Coach Gruden, all the coaches, and tell them I'm quitting. And on the way there, I get stopped by a guy named Eric Vance, who at the time was just like a player personnel guy. He goes, what are you doing? I go, I got to get out of here, man. Like I lost this necklace that had my son's picture on it. I like it just kind of was eating away at me. I was like, I don't like being here. None of these guys want me to be here. He's like, come, let's take a break. He goes, sit me down. He goes, hey, tell me your life story. Like, how'd you get here? So I told him the foster care, all the finding my dad, the having a son. He goes, he didn't say anything about all the other things. He goes, what's your son going to say to you? Or what are you going to say to your son in 20 years when you tell him you quit playing professional football? That was the question. Is what's your son going to say to you? What are you going to say to him? I was like, man, I don't know. He's like, just so you know, like when a dad quits and his son knows, your son's not going to listen to anything you say. And I was like, damn. He's like, and also he goes, and then he goes on, he goes, but to be honest, like you fought to get here. He's like, your story is not normal. Like you belong here. And so that was like the language of like, all right, he's like, hey, suck it up, get through the day and then take it day by day. So I did. I took it day by day. And sure enough, it got cut. That's how the game works. But it was like the very last, I was one of the last 8 guys let go. So I had a shot and then ended up getting cut. Funny enough, a couple years later, they called me to go back, but I didn't want to go back to their team. But the interesting thing was the very next practice, so like that was midday. That next like practice took place in a couple hours. I remember getting to the facility and then like kind of slumping in there. And as I walk in on my locker, hanging there is the necklace with the picture of my son that I had lost. Now, if I had quit, I would have never seen that. But I think like walking in was like my sense of like God saying like, hey, good choice, son. You belong here. And so that's one
There
of a
you go.
few stories that landed well. But that was a critical moment because if I make that choice, my life is different for sure. Like I would carry the weight of regret having quit something and I never have before, never have since.
How long did you play for?
I got hurt in my 3rd season. So but like the first preseason game of my 3rd year in the NFL. Yeah, not long.
You went through that rodeo, got hurt.
So after that,
What happened?
what happened?
Oh man, all hell breaks loose. That's life. You know what's crazy is anytime that we all do something and we're good at it, and then at some point in time we realize that we are no longer able to do the thing that we are good at, that gives us a sense of self, a sense of confidence, like a sense of purpose. When it's robbed from you, like I don't know if we know how to show up every single day. My work is rooted in identity, who you are when you're not thinking about who you are, which is honestly born.
Absolutely.
It's born of the experiences we go through, what we subject ourselves to, what we're thrust into, but it wires us differently, programs us to have belief or lack thereof. And so when I was doing football, I had this great sense of self, man. I had just high esteem for me. But then now that football's gone, it's like, well, who's Anthony without the game of football? What value do I hold? So I went home. I had finished my degree in kinesiology after my injury. And I now had to figure out what life looked like. My wife and I had 2 more kids. They're now 16. They're twins in high school. And so at this time, I have newborn twins and a 3-year-old, I think 4-year-old son. And I'm trying to find a way to take care of it. We got this house when I was playing in the NFL, and now I had a mortgage to pay, but I had no money to pay it. And so I was like, all right, I got a chunk of money from the injury. I was like, let's do something. So I opened a business, a gym business. Now here's the thing. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'd never had a business before. I never even owned a gym membership, and I'm over here running a gym, like it didn't make much sense. But I will say this, it was a powerful microcosm of the world that taught me a lot. So I was thrust into the situation where I'm like, my wife's at home with newborn twins from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. by herself, probably 6, 7 days a week. I'm at this gym trying to make it work, and I put all the money we had into it, and I'm never home. I'm not doing it well. And 9 months in, a guy rolls up in a Harley, hands me a letter from the landlord. They're evicting me. Hadn't paid rent in 3 months. Couldn't. I didn't have the money coming in. So I'm in this interesting conundrum. I'm not home, so my wife and I are not close and we're falling apart. I'm broke. My business that I have is not doing well. I don't know what to do. Like literally, it's that whole chaos window of like, what do you do? And I had one of 2 things. One is I chalk it up, and my best friend and my wife were like, dude, chalk it up, take the bankruptcy. Because it was me like $250,000 I was going to owe to the landlord. When to evict you, you still owe what's due on the lease. And so they're like, just chalk it up, go bankrupt, get a job. And I was like, damn, I don't want to do that. But if I'm going to go that route, I'm going to go down swinging furiously. Like I'm going to go crazy. And so I went and did some things that were not wise. I still had $4,000 to my name. And I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but I can work really hard. If I can get the information from someone to fix this, then maybe I can apply that work ethic with the information, get myself out of this hole in 16 days. I had 16 days to do whatever it was or quit. And I was like, all right. So I found this guy named Pat Rigsby who coaches business owners and fitness businesses. And I call him and I go, hey, I'd love to, get some help if you can help. He goes, yeah, I can definitely help your situation. I broke it all down. He goes, I can help you. I go, okay, what does it look like? What's the cost? He goes, $6,000. I go, well, I got four. He goes, I'm $6,000. And I go, no, but I only have 4,000. He goes, I don't think you're getting it. I'm $6,000. He says, for me, it's irrelevant what you have. I'm telling you what my fee is. And to be honest, he's like, at the end of the day, you need to find a way to solve your problem. And so I was like, all right. So my new problem was, how do I find the money? And I go, well, here's the thing. I'm going to give you four. If I do four, we have to make this work and I'll get your two. Like the next two I owe you. I said, but we got to get this going. Cause I said, we'll call it a payment plan if you want to. But I was like, I got to figure out, I will find a way to pay you, but let's go. And so he's like, all right, the second payment's due in 30 days. I'm like, all right, let's get it done. So I pay him $4,000. My wife doesn't know this. She would have been livid. And I pay him $4,000. At the time, just so you can get a little bit of framing, we had been making maybe $7,000 a month. And that all went out to my trainers, the power bill, like nothing came home. I actually wasn't paying my mortgage. I had nothing coming in. So everything's bad. The only money we do have, I'm putting into some stranger I just met in the internet. And fast forward the next week, we brought in an extra 8,000. Fast forward the next month, an extra 12. Fast forward 4 months, we were doing $27,000 a month.
That sounds
And
magical. I
it was,
mean, what
it does.
happened that quickly? What
You want to
weren't
know?
you doing?
Here's what he had me do. First off, he broke every part of the business down and he pretty much chopped me up like a football coach. He's like, I don't even know how you've lasted this long. It makes no sense. He's like, you are over here running and gunning. He's like, I don't get it. Now, what you guys don't know is behind the scenes, my marriage is falling apart too. So I pretty much lived at this place, which is why I was still even breathing any kind of life. What he had me do was this interesting thing that he calls an ABC list. He goes, go get a piece of paper and write A on one side, B on the other side, and like and get a third one and have C, A, B, and C. He goes, now I want you to do this. Go into your phone. I need you to compile a list of 250 people that fit into one of these columns. An A is somebody who knows you, who's worked with you. A B is someone who knows you but hasn't worked with you. A C is someone who doesn't know you. Your job is to call every single person and turn C's to B's and B's to A's and ask all the A's for help. That was it. Ask all the A's for help. So I made the list and I go, okay, I got the list. He goes, all right, before we start this, he goes, is anybody on that list that you feel uncomfortable calling? And I go, well, not really. He goes, do it again. I go, what do you mean? He goes, all the people that you don't want to be embarrassed by or you don't want to ask for help, go add them to the list. Cause he done it before. He knew it was going to. So you make this list. You go like, oh, this my uncle, cousin. I don't want to call them. He goes, put everybody back on the damn list. I was like, all right. So I put him on the list and he's like, all right, now call them. I go, do what? He goes, call and ask for help. I go, ask for help. He goes, ask for help. So I call and the first couple of people, I'm telling you, all of my testicles were in my stomach. It was all uncomfortable is the best way I can explain. Like everything, it felt so bad. And you're making calls and you're asking people for help. And it's like, it's just weird. I'm the former NFL football guy asking for help because my business is failing. Like that's not a, normal thing. But I will tell you this, the first call sucked. Then it got better and better. And then after a while, it was just me finally going out to the world and people I'd already established good relationships with were happy to help me. And so now I'm getting this help and it's finally building. And that was the big piece of it. It was like, I finally put in one business systems. He taught me a lot of business systems to put in for how to give tours, onboard people, all the structure, training, teaching the team. I'd never known any of that kind of stuff. I had a team of people with no idea how to lead them. And two was getting uncomfortable and doing the things that actually moved the needle. And so that was the big piece of it. Outside of this, at the exact same time, my marriage quite literally falls apart. We get divorced. All hell breaks loose. It's the back and forth custody battles, like chaos. At one point in time, I was sitting here like, I'm not even going to lie. I was like, if this is life after football. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, let me out of here now, boss. Like, I'm good to go. It was horrible. I was going through like my wife had an affair. It was a big piece of it. And it really uncovered like it was hard. I'm not explaining it. And when your soul is ripped from you and growing up in foster care, that's my family. And my family's gone. And so all these dynamics came spinning into a head like around 2011. I sent a text message to my friends and family that said, please tell my kids who their father was. And I drove off like 11 o'clock at night looking for some rat poison. Thankfully, I never found any. The police found me parked at a gas station, sent me back home. I think the wave of pain had kind of surpassed and it kind of hit its peak and I was kind of calmer now. And that was my rock bottom, man. Like having a moment of like, all right, well, I'm going to be here for a while. Let's figure this damn thing out. And so that was the initial chaos post football career. And that's just one of many stories of a lot of guys that face a lot of hardship and girls, when you leave a sport, you sell a business, you take on a new job, no matter what it is, there's a day we wake up and the thing we used to do, we don't have at our disposal anymore. We can't kind of enter into it. And a whirlwind of identity crisis pops up and we have to figure that problem out. And oftentimes we do it alone.
When you reached out and asked for help, was it monetary help?
No, it was asking for help for people that may want to get in shape to come work at the gym or work out at the gym. So like the next week we made, I think an extra 8,000. What it was
Yeah, you
we
said.
had 3 different clients bring their teams in. So I was working with a lot of youth athletes. So one guy was Ricky Pato, and Ricky Pato was a baseball player. Worked for, or he played for a team called La Marinda, which is a big team in this East Bay area at the time, at least. And he had, I think, the next week like 6 or 7 players come in. We had moms help out by bringing their like friends do boot camp classes, and a couple personal training people recommend clients. So it was just me asking people who already knew what we were doing to go and share the gospel of our training facility. And that was what brought new eyes in.
How long did you have the business? And you still have it?
I sold it. So I first off ran it from 06 to 14. And then I got a big contract with a local power company for $250,000. And it was like the most I'd seen since the NFL. And I was like, yeah, I'm done doing this. So I sold the business, mostly sold the equipment, but kept the business running for consulting purposes. And then I realized that I had this open loop in my brain of like, did I really get that right? Or did I sell it because I got an opportunity to get out from underneath a headache? And for me, I like to know that I can look back on my life and go, I figured that out. I did it right. Whatever it was. So what I did is I reopened it in 2017 with the intention of creating a business that was turnkey that I could sell. So 18 months later, I sold it for double what I invested into it in 2018. So opened in 2017, sold in 2018. And yep, sure enough, was able to sell it for a little chunk of money. And then I now have put that to bed, we'll call it. And it was right at the right time because of 2 years later was a pandemic. And I'm thankful I was not in a brick and mortar business at that time.
In the gym business.
Yeah, no
Yeah, for
less.
sure, gym of all things. Yeah, that thing. There's been a couple people in that same building since, but I don't think anyone's in there now. Like it all tanked.
Where was the building? What city?
We lived in Antioch, California. The business was in Antioch, which is East San Francisco Bay Area, tucked away. Not a very good place, to be honest.
Okay. So tell us about your next chapter professionally, Anthony. What happened there?
I was doing some consulting for a company called Fire Alumni, which is a fire department company. What they do is they prepare firefighters to take the CBEST and prepare to be able to do all the stuff to be a firefighter. And they asked me to come in and speak because one of the individuals who typically talked about the fitness portion to get prepared for the CBEST, he had, I think, got diagnosed with cancer, so he needed somebody. One of my high school football teammates was a firefighter, knew what I was doing with the fitness industry, did some things with PG&E, the power company out here. And so he told the company, and they said, oh, let's check him out. So they had me come do a training with their people for like 4 hours using the other guy's slides. Like, I don't know what it was, but I presented on what I could figure out from what he put on the slides. And they're like, we like you. And so I continued to kind of work with them once every 2 to 3 months or something. And at one point in time, there's a guy named Jadon Cherry. Jadon goes, hey, we're going to film these videos of you doing this stuff, put it online and sell it across the internet. And I go, what kind of witchcraft is that? What are you talking about? Like it was, before online courses were even a thing. And this was like 2013-ish, maybe 14. And I'm like, put on the internet and sell. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, this guy, Brennan Burchard, taught me this. I'm like, who's this? So I look him up at his company called Experts Academy. And so this guy, Brendan, runs these events all over the world, or I think all over the country at least. And he has this one in our backyard in Santa Clara. So I'm like, shoot, I'll check it out. Pay $2,000 for a ticket. I go down and watch this whole seminar. Like I walk in a room with like 2,000 people just jumping and clapping and hugging each other. I'm like, these crazy people, what are you doing? It's weird. So 4 days later, I'm jumping and clapping. I'm hugging people. I'm in the mix, drinking all the Kool-Aid. And the thing is the whole purpose of the event was all about how do you take what you have experienced, extract it, codify it, systemize it, and then sell it? How do you make it valuable for somebody else? And by this time, I'd never really shared much of my personal story. It'd always been the fitness stuff and everything. So now I'm like, well, there may be some weight and some value to my life story, all the stuff I've gone through, navigated ups and downs and craziness. And so I kind of leaned into doing what this man was telling you to do: make videos, train, create content, curriculum, learn, read all these little nuance pieces. And little by little, I started doing stuff. I filmed a video every single day for 3.65 years. I transitioned from that now to a daily podcast. I think we just surpassed 9 straight years of doing something every single day, like every day of a podcast, of just sharing a 5 to 7 minute thought. So I was like getting the chops of learning how to speak extemporaneously, like I'm talking right now, just kind of flowing. And at the same time, I had to figure out, like, I'm navigating the back and forth of my kids and my ex-wife and that whole journey there, trying to build things up. I even ran my own event where I went into the event with $1,000 in my account. I came out of there profitable, thankfully, but like I went broke to see if I could make something work. But what it was I was doing the things that I felt in my soul were right, sharing things, making sense of it. It lit me up to go and talk and be on stages. And I didn't actually like have a clear path. I just knew I had to just do this thing. So I'm doing it and I'm scraping by. And I get to 2016 and I remember waking up and just not loving the guy that I'm looking at in the mirror. To the fact of like, I was doing this thing on one side, like trying to teach people the world stuff, right? But I'm still like, I'm drinking, I'm hanging out with people I shouldn't be hanging out with. I'm sleep with multiple women, just kind of like the whole thing. I've fallen away from my faith. I remember getting up and looking in the mirror, and this is true story, I guess. It was New Year's Day, January 2016, and I had flown a woman out from Russia. So I got this woman in the bed who I came and speak to. We had gone to hookah, so I got hookah on my mouth. I'm hungover, and I just look in the mirror, and I'm disgusted at the guy. In my head, genuinely thought, like, I would never want my daughter to be with a guy like this. I would never want my boys to mimic a man like this. My for sure mom, my adoptive mom, was diagnosed with MS I think when I was 14, and she passed away in 2015. And I was like, my mom wouldn't approve of this, and my God wouldn't let me into heaven doing this. So something's got to change. And it was like a big wake up call in that moment. And I kind of just cut everything off, everybody off, and I kind of went to work on Anthony. A lot of it was a lot of internal, what I call dark work, to figure out like, what is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Most would call that shadow work, I think. The dark work is what you do once you know. I think shadow work is like, let's find out what's going on. Dark work is what you do once you know what's going on. And so I found these areas where I needed to shore up my humanity. So I started working on me and taking ownership for things and apologizing for portions. There's a lot of work went into it. And then you fast forward to, I want to say, August of 2016. Somehow, in some weird roundabout way, my ex-wife was also separately working on herself. Her brother had given her this book that kind of like spurned a new thought in her to be better. She'll tell you she woke up at, I want to say like 30 years old with a house that was empty, hungover, going like, this can't be my life at 30. Like, I don't have my kids here. Like, there's no anything. And so she was in her own realm of growth. This is my ex-wife, by the way, who I absolutely hate at the time. And we're going back and forth. And she reaches out and goes, hey, can we go on a trip just to get away from this area? Not to be together, but just to take the kids out of here. I got to go. I know you can't be away from the kids. We'll go to Costa Rica. We'll be in separate places. Let's just kind of get away. I was like, that's fine. I can work remotely. I can do my emails and stuff from anywhere in the world. So we did. And so I went to Costa Rica with her. And again, we're not together at all. And by this time, I'd kind of started like talking to one woman, but not like really in depth. I was kind of just entering back in that kind of dating game, we'll call it. And we just spent the next 3 weeks there. And the interesting part was like, I wasn't there with the intention of being with her at all. But it was like this thing where she had grown. I hadn't seen her. And so the way I explain it is I got to meet someone for the first time that I'd known for 16 years. Like, different heart, different humanity, different person. And I don't speak Spanish, and that's what they speak out there. So I had to talk to her, you know? So I was like, cool. I left that vacation going, we are going to be great co-parents. This is going to be a phenomenal co-parenting situation. We got this. I get back. I'm prepared to go on a date with this girl, but I need her to watch the kids. And so she comes over to watch the kids and goes, hey, before you go on your date, I would like to see if we can make this marriage work again. So I'm like, what? Like, that's not, no, you know, in my head, I'm like, no. Anyways, ruins my date because I'm back of my head the whole time. Like, is that, what if I, you know, it was all there. And fast forward, I come back and I go like, hey, like I don't know if we can. I have so many people that supported me when I were going through a thing. Like, you would have to get their blessing. And I don't know how you're going to do that, but that's the only way I could see it working is I can't undermine the people that were there for me when we went through our chaos. And so she's like, all right, nothing was said beyond that. A month later, I take a trip to Portland, Oregon, actually to film something with that Brendan Burchard guy. And because at this time I'd first met him, but over the years, I somehow got brought in to volunteer, got to know him. He's now a buddy of mine. It was just a weird kind of progression. And so I was going to film something with him. And so I was gone for like 3 days in Portland. She watched the kids. I come back. I get text messages from like 3 separate, very specific people that are close to me. And they go, hey, man, I just want to let you know, like, I talked to her. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, who'd you talk to? They're like, Christina. I'm like, what do you mean? They go, yeah, she reached out. It was like, she wanted to come sit down with me. I'm like, she did what? And so I heard them all out. My best friend goes, well, first off, you're no angel. I go, all right. He goes, first off, don't think you're some angel. And he goes, secondly, he goes, I can't believe I'm saying this. He's like, but like, I laid into her and she took it like a woman. He's like, you got my blessing. Like, I think she's who you want her to be. I was like, man, I don't know. And then the second person, same, third person, same. And then sure enough, I was like, all right, let's try this. And so somehow in a roundabout way, we got brought back into the fold. I decided to move to Costa Rica immediately. I think it was like 3 weeks in, someone tried to kidnap our kid. So we shot back here. It was a very weird dynamic. And yeah, so the rest is kind of history. So in that window, a couple of things have happened and why I think all this becomes relevant to anybody, right? It's kind of like, what's the story mean for the rest of the world? I think the big pieces are this. I have lived a life and I've crossed a lot of finish lines, a lot of different ones, professional, health, marriage, parenting, relationship, you name it. I don't think anyone in my position should be telling somebody how to run a race unless you've crossed some finish lines. And so I've gone through a lot of things that I feel confident in sharing my perspective on. Not that I'm the end all by any means, but here's my perspective on X. The second part is now that I've had that life experience, I've focused on like trying to make sure it's codified and processed so somebody else can garner value from it to be able to do something in their own lives. So it's not just saying like, look at it like this. I go, here's the process of what I thought through, or here's what this thing I did was that I didn't know at the time, but here's what it means. And so giving people a process, because what I look at is I don't go out there and say, work hard. My big thing that I believe I've developed internally is what I call a dominator's identity. It's a sense of ability to govern and control myself in hard times because I believe we have opposite of that, a submitter's identity. Submits to weakness, to hardship, to excuses that crumbles under pressure. Whereas for me, I've found that my life and my ability to do what I do now comes because internally I go, look, I don't know what tomorrow brings, but I bring me to tomorrow. And so when I'm working with people and going through the process and having lived my life how I have, the big thing I'm turning around and going is like, hey, I've navigated some things. Here's how I would pursue this or think through that or set myself, how I build a dream and lean into the dream. Because I've now worked with like the Amazon, Chick-fil-A's, PayPal, T-Mobile, Best Buy, Dollar General, Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, like the list goes on and on. And it's not by accident. It's because the way I show up every single day, having gone through stuff, but hardened myself through the hardships, through the craziness. And that's what I choose to give back to the world. So my dance of life now is like, I love living my life. I absolutely love my kids, my wife, my family. It's my core. But at the same time, I do have an internal desire and duty to share with the world and do stuff like this and bring something back because I wish somebody did it for me. I didn't have a lot of folks in my life that gave me like sound advice for adulthood. You know, it was always like, here's for sports or here's for business. But like living this life, you guys know, like life gets crazy and the people, the things, the bills, the ups, the downs, and not many people are navigating that are giving a ton of insight onto it. And so I just go, here's what happened behind the scenes for me. And it's become valuable. And so I share it. That's kind of the world I live in now.
Do you have a business model today?
There's twofold. So on one side of the coin, I speak, coach, consult. So I go out and give speeches to companies like I just mentioned. On the flip side, there's a codified process called a dark work experience. It's actually a refined process that's very structured. And so I go into companies and walk their executive groups or teams through this process over about 4 to 8 hour period. And then separate from that, we can coach individually. We have a team of coaches that work one-on-one with people over a 90-day period, post a 4-week setup period. So the idea is I want to put you into what I call a dark work experience. And there's a reason why I use that word. I believe experience is the critical piece that moves and changes us. If you say, I want to be able to, I don't know, make more money, cool. I can give you all the tactics in the world. But if you don't do the things because you identify as someone that does the things, it does not matter. I heard recently somebody say, you cannot build a $1 million business with a $10,000 identity. You got to be the person to do it. So I work with people to build that. Separately from that business, people started going, how'd you build this thing? Like, how'd you get on stages? How'd you find clients? What does that machine look like? I go, oh, here's how I did it. And so I built a company called Speak to Freedom. It's a speaking first business, meaning it's a speaking business, which is comprised of speaking, coaching, consulting. But it's how do you do that whole speaking thing to become the authority to get on stage? And for us, the big thing is it's not about the skill set only. It's about how do I get great at getting on stage? How do I build the message, market that thing, process stuff? We've got a lot of technology built in, like literally fully built, custom developed tools that are whole login platforms that allow us to get leads and do outreach and all the fun stuff. And so for me, the idea is on one side, my model is I'm the guy that speaks, coaches, consults, and does things for people individually. Other side is I help people build a similar business.
So how do we monetize this?
Multiple ways. Obviously, speaking, I get paid $30,000 per keynote to do that. Consulting, usually if it's a 4-hour kind of single day, I'll do it for 20. It's 8 hours, I do it for 30. The coaching back and forth, so it's a 4-month engagement. The first month set up, the 90 days of actual experience. If you do it just at one, we charge $8K. On the flip side, for Speak to Freedom, our brand, we cover top to bottom everything. If you came to me with like, I think I want to speak, I can find your message, your framework, your keynote structure, your marketing assets, your proposals, all your outreach stuff, your social media machine. I mean, the whole machine goes through all the way to turning every stage into more stages. It's a whole reliable machine we have. It's a $25,000 product, but it bypasses someone having to invest about $100,000. Like I've worked painlessly to find different vendors that can produce what clients need without paying that exorbitant fee. And so I've built it to where it's not my only revenue model. So I don't have to actually just make money there. I have found ways to go, hey, I can create some profit, which is good on that side, but I'm not going to nickel and dime you. It's 25,000. It covers everything you need. It's like saying if I wanted to open my gym business back in the day, I had to put $100,000 in that gym and I get it back on monthly recurring revenue of like, $25 memberships. It's not very easy to recoup it. Whereas for us, that I do it right, it's 25,000. You can get that in a couple speeches. We've had clients that make 25 per keynote, paid off, and they still have a full running business that'll go for years. And so for us, it's going, hey, I'm going to give you the entire business and coaching and guidance all for a fee that's a quarter of the rate you have to invest. And then separate from that, we have different levels. We have a stage 1 and a stage 2. It's more affordable and it's also a little bit shorter, but it gives like, if you're a person that goes, I'm just getting started, it's very daunting. You have a stage 1. If somebody goes, hey, I'm already in the trenches, I got the website proposal, I got those things. I just need the scaling systems for, the social media or the outreach machine for leads, the CRM system, the coaching models, the book funnels. Like that's what we do on the backside. That's the stage 2 for us. And so that's essentially how we do it. We've got a great team of coaches. I've got in-house tech people. Like we got a pretty cool business all built out.
How many people work for you?
There's no one as an employee. We have subcontractors. I believe we're about 16 people there.
How's it going?
Great. We do very well. We do, we're in the process now of actually scaling to go, because right now we bring about 10 people per month in, and it's been good because every single person that comes in has a touch point with me. I do the first initial one. Like I have a call later today with one of our clients coming in, and it's a one-on-one to kind of extract the message and refine it. I'm not the only person that can do it, but I'm the person that does do it in the company. And so it's been a bottleneck to us, meaning I can't spend more to get more clients in because it just means more work for me and I can't handle, and I also can't fulfill the quality level that I want. For me, I want the quality to be phenomenal. This is what I'm going to do until I retire, to be quite honest. And if I butcher it now because I want to find shortcuts and not do it right, it'll fall apart. So for me, the quality is incredibly important. But we now have people that I'm going, all right, let's just scale this. Let's put more into it. But I'm going to have other people trained to do the parts that I do, and I'll have my touch points. So the goal is to get to about $1 million a month if we can do that right in the next 12 to 18 months.
Awesome. How do people find you, Anthony?
I don't know. How'd you find me? I don't know. I just on the internet. No, if you're browsing or like if you're listening here, go to anthonytrucks.com, speaktofreedom.com, or darkwork.com. Those are all our brands. Or on social media, Anthony Trucks, pretty much anything. I have a son named the same thing, but you'll clearly know it's not me. It looks like a younger 21 kid. But outside of that, honestly, we run a lot of ads. The thing for me is I realize that the ability to have reliability in my business comes from the ability to spend properly. It's what every company does. It's at a big, that's why you see commercials, why you see ads running. It's just doing it with the ability to make sure you're profitable while you do it. And we've got to that level now.
Awesome.
I think it's very interesting.
Mm, but
Just one more question for you. Who was the person that drove you to the business end? I mean, these are all wonderful services, but getting back to even in your gym days, but now, I mean, it sounds to me like you've put processes and procedures in place and you're able to deliver a product that has consistency. And what do you attribute that to in your background?
Football. Here's the thing. Years ago, someone said if you solve a problem, you shouldn't have to solve it a second time. If you solved it once, find out why, systemize it. And that was one of the things Pat Rigsby told me with the gym business, right? He's like, he made me create a ton of systems, but it
Mhm,
was easy for me because I understood the logic behind it, which was this. When I played football, there's a play. You can watch the film and get better because you know what the play is supposed to be. Did you go here, not go here? It's a system. It's a little, this guy has this, he goes here, so it's all covering everything. So I go, all right, well, that makes sense. We could win a game because we won the play, but play at a plan or strategy. Business for me is no different. I don't want to wing it. I'm not playing park football. It's not like where you say, go run around, guys. It's like, you go here, you do this. You go here, you do this. Hey, you didn't do that? Don't do that person's job. I want to figure out how to get that person better. So my job has been putting out, like, if I fix something and it goes well, great. Why? Then from there, optimize and make it better so it repeats itself. And then that way the experience is over and over the same. It's like I watched that Ray Kroc, was it with the McDonald's movie years ago too? And it was like,
yeah,
yeah, it's just,
yeah,
he bought the systems until he bought the
right,
land. But it was like the
right.
systems, essentially. And that system you have is what really makes things successful. I tell people all the time, your business should be boring. It should be boring. It should be here we do this, I track this, it's boring. But here's the thing, that boringness gets me into exciting rooms on exciting stages and exciting conversations. But if I didn't have the reliability, consistency of the machine running, there's no excitement later, just frustration.
Anthony, it's been great to get to know you and hear your interesting journey and story. I'm
Thank you.
so proud of it all and good
Appreciate it.
to know you and have you on the show and appreciate you.
Yeah, very welcome. Thank you for having me.